Roguelikes have a reputation for being addictive but hollow, a genre that promises endless fun while secretly trapping players in endless cycles of progression. But here's where it gets controversial. Not all games in this category are created equal. Some, like the developers at Guard Crush Games, prove that it's possible to craft a roguelike that feels both fair and thrilling. Their latest project, Absolum, isn't just another randomized grind. It's a love letter to beat-em-up fans and a bold reimagining of what a roguelike can be. And this is the part most people miss. The game's success hinges on trusting the process, even when the odds seem stacked against you. So, is Absolum the exception to the rule? Let's dive in and find out. If you've played Streets of Rage 4, you'll recognize Guard Crush's signature flair for tight combat and rewarding progression. There, Mr. X Nightmare Mode was a masterclass in balancing randomness with fairness, and Absolum builds on that foundation. This time, they've transformed the concept into a full-fledged fantasy beat-em-up, blending chaotic action with RPG-like systems. Before even booting up my demo, I knew I was in good hands. After all, who wouldn't trust a team that's already proven they can turn a side-scrolling brawler into a modern classic? Absolum's art style is a standout from the get-go. It leans into familiar fantasy tropes, goblins, sorcerers, and clashing steel, but injects them with a quirky, stylized energy that's equal parts grimy and whimsical. Think of it as a cross between Capcom's Dragon's Crown and a surreal, hand-drawn comic. The characters don't just look cool. They move with a fluidity that makes every punch, slash, and spell feel like a performance. Watching a knight juggle enemies mid-air or a rogue backflip between foes is pure joy, and it's clear the team poured heart into every frame of animation. But the game's charm goes beyond aesthetics. The demo threw me into a world teeming with secrets, side quests, and lore that felt like stumbling into an RPG's sprawling narrative. At times, the sheer volume of content was overwhelming. Was this depth or overcomplication? Maybe both. But even with a mid-game save file, the interconnected stories and character interactions gave Absolum a weighty, immersive quality that's rare in the beat-em-up genre. It's like Streets of Rage with a side of Dungeons & Dragons. Exactly the kind of hybrid I didn't know I needed. Combat-wise, Absolum nails the basics while adding clever twists. Each of the 4 playable characters in my demo had a distinct playstyle, from brute force brawlers to spell-casting mages. The combo system is intuitive, letting you chain moves into flashy, devastating sequences. What sets this apart, though, is the RPG-inspired layer of customization. Think of it like Final Fantasy's materia system. You can equip arcane super attacks, pick up limited-use subweapons, and apply status effects that turn the tide of battle. These mechanics don't feel tacked on. They're woven into the core of the gameplay, letting you tailor your approach to each run. One of the demo's highlights was the Frog Mage Brome. His short-range attacks made me nervous at first. But his arcane spells, like a laser blast that carved through enemies, were a game-changer. I could see him thriving in multiplayer, where his circle traps and crowd control abilities would shine. Even solo, he felt like a strategic wildcard, and that's the kind of design that keeps players coming back for more. The game's structure is where Absolum truly shines. It's a roguelike at heart, but instead of punishing players with unfair curveballs, it offers a dynamic, branching path system. Each run feels fresh thanks to randomized layouts and enemy placements, yet there's a sense of purpose to every decision. I never felt like the game was toying with me, just challenging me to adapt. And this is the part most people miss. The difficulty isn't arbitrary. The final boss in my demo, a hulking fish king, was tough, but I never felt like victory was impossible. It just required learning the right strategies and upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, here's where the game sparked some debate for me. During my run, I stumbled into a powerful build that let me unleash devastating bird effects on enemies. Was this a result of skill, or just luck in the RNG? The line between the two is thin, and this brings up an interesting question. Should roguelikes reward players for finding the meta build, or should they prioritize learning the game's mechanics? I'm not sure I have an answer, but it's a discussion worth having. After all, isn't that what makes games like this so divisive? All in all, Absolum impressed me in ways I didn't expect. It's a love letter to beat-em-up purists and a bold experiment for roguelike fans. While I'll always be cautious about the genre's tendency to prioritize grind over substance, Guard Crush has convinced me to give Absolum a shot. Will it be the exception to the rule? Only time will tell. But for now, I'll keep my hand on my wallet and my controller, ready to dive into whatever chaos they've cooked up next. What do you think? Do you trust the process, or are you waiting for the next Streets of Rage to save you from the roguelike grind? Let me know in the comments.